Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS. The podcast you're about to listen to was recorded about a week and a half after the Game Awards. I've just been all of December and January, I've been swamped. It's now mid-February and I haven't been posting videos. I have recorded some, hadn't got a chance, but just keep that in mind. If some of the stuff I say seems dated or is contradictory to current information that has since come out, that is because these are kind of my impressions with about a week, like I said, a week or a week and a half, I can't remember exactly, after the announcements of the Game Awards. So, we had stuff like the Ian Flynn come out with more information about Sonic and different things, but I feel like what I addressed there still holds up, and I still want to release it, even though it's a bit dated now. So hope you enjoy, and to the podcast. Hey, it's Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here, and I just watched the Game Awards, and then I went on to get into some other stuff, trying to dive deeper into some of these things. I wanted to talk about it. Let's face it, though, everybody's got all their highlights from the Game Awards, what was big, what wasn't, but for me, it is, 90% going to be about Sonic. So let's just get that underway. Let's talk about that Sonic movie trailer. And, oh man, Sonic 2 is going to be such a great movie. But what I love about this is, in the first one, they did have a lot of little Easter eggs, but my biggest critique of it is I understood that, they needed to do the Sonic in live action versus the completely CGI. I knew what they were going for, so I didn't have a problem with Tom the Cop or any of that kind of stuff. What I did, one of the things I liked is they had a lot of little Easter egg references, street signs and stuff were different Sonic level names. They were in the town of Green Hills, stuff like that, but they didn't. There were so many key points that I looked at the movie and I said, right there would have been a perfect opportunity, and then they missed it. And especially music-wise. What I love about this trailer is this is the trailer, and it's jam-packed with super nitty-gritty references. So I'm going to break that down as I talk about the trailer. So it starts out, Sonic's eating the chili dog. And that was kind of the 90s thing. The Teenage Ninja Turtles, they were all about pizza. Mario had a spaghetti. So Sonic had to have a thing. And they gave him chili dogs. Tons of 90 kids who had never had a chili dog all of a sudden had to have chili dogs. Even though that was never a big, huge, popular thing, it became a cool thing among Sega kids. So, cool to get that reference. They've been referencing that. That was something that was kind of exclusively cartoons, and he never did that in the games. But in recent years, they've been throwing that into the games as kind of just a little hint. The thing I like is he's up on the rooftop while he's giving this dialogue, and he looks over, and it's just like in the Sonic Adventure when he looks over at Chaos right before he jumps down and goes into action. So they do that once again, and Sonic jumps down, and now he's going and stopping a heist. And this is kind of cool because this is, if Sonic's going to be in the human world, and the world now knows about him, he's gonna be like a superhero, like in Sonic X. He's gonna go around saving people, doing that because he's gonna be too bored just to sit in a little town. But then as he's doing this, something falls out, goes down in the sewer, big explosion, and water all comes up out of the manholes. Once again, the Sonic Adventure trailer, when Chaos takes over and all the manholes burst out with his water. Same exact shot. Obviously, of course, it's not a giant water monster flooding the city, but it's just that moment is that shot from the intro to Sonic Adventure. And Sonic calls himself Blue Justice, you can't. Tom's referring to him as Batman, and I just kind of thought that was funny because there's a bunch of in all this stuff in him superheroing. Like I see references both to Batman and to kind of Spider-Man, and so I thought that was kind of cool. Even though Sonic, as they did in the last movie, he's basically the Flash, and they put down that Sonic liked to read comics because he had a stack of like the complete Flash series in his little hideout den. Then they kind of do some montaging. They show him, Tom says he's just a kid, and so they show him like doing skateboarding indoor and stuff. And when he jumps up in there, he does the pose, and his skateboard is the skateboard from the promotional stuff for when they redesigned him to modern Sonic for the Dreamcast. So they, Sonic went from his little classic pudgy, they made him more lanky and stuff like that. And this was not promoting any specific game, though Sonic Adventure came around that time, but kind of like part of the announcement. They just put him in a bunch of action poses, and they had some with a skateboard. And this is one of those shots. So that was really cool. If you freeze frame on it, that's what you're seeing. Then they're in the boat, and Tom says something to him significant, and he goes, "Wait, did you just quote Oprah?" That joke did not land. Like, that is going to be the Olive Garden joke of this movie. I mean, well, it's not the Olive Garden joke because I don't think Oprah paid the money to say that, but the concept that I would assume, apologize for the noise, but I would assume always emergencies in this town. Okay, let's try that again. I would assume Sonic is consuming pop culture. I could see Sonic being into like superheroes, comics, that just kind of things, maybe action movies, kung fu movies, like all that kind of stuff is cool. Like I could see Sonic referencing Jackie Chan or something like that. I don't think Sonic is watching Oprah. That just is not the kind of thing Sonic would do. That's like contrary to his character. So the fact that he's pop culture referencing Oprah, it's just kind of odd, especially now that like Oprah is not, I mean, she's still big, she's still huge, she's still this multimedia thing, but I don't think that like she's something that like is so massively in the pop culture lexicon right at this moment that Sonic would just pick it up from everybody talking about it. So like they're implying that Sonic, that's weird. But in these kind of movies, not every joke's gonna land, and everyone's worried about the Spider-Man No Way Home, about Doctor Strange saying Scooby-Doo this crap or whatever. We don't know how that joke's gonna land in the movie, but everything about that movie looks like it's going to be spectacular, amazing. It's gonna be good, but everybody is focusing on one bad joke that's in the trailer. Don't want to do that. Okay, now we cut, Eggman's coming back, and they cut to Agent Stone, who's working as a barista in a coffee shop, which is kind of cool because in the last one, that was like his thing, is he was like the guy that got Robotnik coffee. So that's the only other thing he's, being a lackey or preparing coffee are the two things he's good at. But and the fact that like Eggman feels like he needs to go get him, like he needs this coffee guy. But once again, cool references in the back. If you look at the menu, there's the Mean Bean Machine special. So that is once again a Sonic game on the Genesis, where they had Puyo Puyo was a Japanese game, and they felt that it would be a hard sell to those in the US, so they put a Sonic skin on it, took some characters from one of the cartoons, put it in there, and sent it out as a Sonic game called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So the fact that that's like on the menu, really cool. Jim Carrey looks great. He's got a brand new stash. he brings his own energy to it as, Jim Carrey. I think he's very Ace Ventura in this in a lot of ways, but looking more like Eggman. I know he had expressed that he wanted to wear a body fat suit. It does not look like that's happening, but he is bald. He's he is taking on the role. Speaking of looking authentic and stuff, we see some buzz bombers, some robots that look like the classic buzz bombers. Of course, they're all silver. Really cool to see that, like a classic, Genesis era Badnik done in live action. Not, they're not shying away and saying, "Oh, those look too silly." They're putting them in there. Then he finds the ultimate source of power, and it's a big thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, Chaos Emeralds." I really think this is the Master Emerald. It looks a bit bigger, and given how movies go, like the concept of potentially having Supersonic finding 7 emeralds in one movie isn't going to work. That's why Sonic has worked so well as cartoon series, because it can be episodic. They can have this story. They can go on the missions. But this is all going to have to happen in one movie, and if you try to say we have to collect 7 Chaos Emeralds and to squeeze that into like 2 hours, along with all the other dialogue and things happening, it's just not going to fit. The much simpler route, and I'm going to be okay with it, I know some fans may not be, but if they just like replace the whole 7 Chaos Emeralds with the Master Emerald, and then Knuckles being the guardian of that Master Emerald, we'll get to that in a bit. Real good. Okay. Cue in Tails. Colleen is still voicing Tails. Everyone thought it was going to be, the rumor was, all of a sudden, I can't think of his name, but the guy that's playing Spider-Man and about to be Nathan Drake, Tom Holland. Everybody thought that was going to be, and well, I thought he could have had a voice to do Tails. Colleen is like the first, I don't want to be mean about this, but the first good Tails voice actor we've had. All the other voice actors for Tails, some of them have been okay, but they always sound super girly. They, very squeaky, very kind of, Colleen, finally kind of makes Tails like young, but like the young boy whose voice just finished changing. That's kind of how Tails comes off. And I really like her voice for Tails. And so when they did that at the end credits in the last movie and they had her, that was great. And I felt like if they had teased that and then replaced her with somebody with more star power, I would have been upset. So really great to see that. The biplane. They're bringing in the biplane. I love it. That's like peak Sonic nostalgia. Tails and Sonic in the biplane. Oh. But then, Tails is like, my name is Tails. My name is, they're doing that, and everyone's like, what? Sonic doesn't know Tails? Well, you have to look at the canon of the movie. Like, it's, the other movie was like this. So this is, for this movie, we're looking at when Sonic meets Tails. But I see a lot of young people being very confused about that in their reactions to the trailer. So it'll be interesting, because maybe they're not, they think that like Tails was just there from the start or something. But yeah, Sonic was a kid. He was sent to the human world. Tails knows about this, is going there looking for him. So maybe Longclaw sent him. Maybe some other thing. But they've teamed up. Now, people also feel like that dialogue is kind of weird. Like they're flying in a plane and they're just learning each other's names. I think, especially since the mouths don't match up, I think it's, trailer movie magic. That is dialogue from somewhere else in the movie, and they're putting that over the action scene in the plane. Going on, we hear Sonic gets hit by a missile, and boom, taken back. Oh, shock, good for the trailer. And then you see Sonic going like through a corridor, and he is just bouncing off a bed. Boom, 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 boom. Really showing off Sonic. It just feels like Sonic. I'm so glad for that. It feels like Sonic. Um, then we see a callback to the first movie. They stop. Tails and Sonic stop at a bar, and here is probably the deepest of deep dive references. Like, this is mind-boggling. I didn't catch this. Other Sonic fans, especially my Sonic fans over in the UK, have pointed this out and have loved watching it. But Sonic the Comic is a UK-based Sonic comic that came out kind of alongside, here in the US we had Archie Comic for Sonic, and it had a very different take on Sonic than Archie Sonic, and both are very different from the games. Both fan bases will argue that theirs are closer to the games, but in reality, neither of them follow game canon really at all. They just take tidbits from manual books and then spin them off in wildly different ways. And the one uses the American TV cartoons kind of as a big part of its basis. But the two of them are wearing a disguise. And remember in the first one, Sonic was dressed up as a cowboy. Well, this time they're wearing a disguise, but it's disguises out of times in that comic book when they had to wear disguises. They pulled that from that, like, so they're obviously like going, hey, you know, because I remember when, what is it, the BioWare made Sonic RPG, Dark Brotherhood, what, I can't remember the name right now, but anyways, not a very memorable game. But I remember when the development team first started, like, Sega just gave them like tons of stuff and said, hey, here's all the stuff you can reference, because they asked for all the material. It feels like Paramount has done the same thing. Like, the writers are like, okay, give us everything Sonic you've got so we can just pull things in and figure out where we can place them in the movie, because that's what we got there. Or, you know, maybe it was one of the artists that was in charge of that really likes that comic. I don't know. But it was cool to see such a niche, only like die-hard Sonic fans are going to catch that. And the only reason why most die-hard catch are because die-hard UK Sonic fans caught it and told us. Because I would have never noticed that. But that's super cool. Then we see like this temple kind of rising out of the water going away. This definitely looks like the temples in Sonic Adventure. We see Sonic snowboarding like he does in Ice Cap Zone. Just really cool. Once again, that's both a Genesis and a Sonic Adventure. We see that level in both in Sonic snowboarding. So it's kind of cool to see that in Sonic has done a lot of snowboarding in games. Cool to see that come up here. And then he's being chased by some robots. In addition to the Buzz Bombers, there's these robots that are somewhat similar to the robots from the first movie, but now they look more like the Seekers from SatAM, the little camera robots that were designed to keep up with and track Sonic so he could never get away. That is really cool. As someone who really loved SatAM, the cartoon, I love that there's kind of like that reference, that tie-in there. Okay, now the big moment. Face it, you're never going to get my power. Do I look like I need your power? Boom! Knuckles comes in, is taking Sonic's full blast right with his fist, just like he does in the cartoons, just like Idris Elba. Like, when they said he was going to voice, I wasn't sure, but I love this. I love this so much. This is the hype moment. This is like, boom, do I look like I need your power? Knuckles is one of my favorite characters. Little backstory on my relationship with the Sonic fandom. I probably mentioned this in other videos, but when I was a kid, we couldn't afford a Sega Genesis. We couldn't afford any video games, really. I had an older computer that I could play some stuff on, but as far as like true video games go, you know, on a console or handheld or whatever, I didn't get that until 98 when I bought my Genesis used, but back in 94 when that McDonald's had the contest to win a Genesis, I entered that through McDonald's, and I got one of the runner-up prizes, which was Sonic the Hedgehog 3, featuring the new villain Knuckles. And of course, Knuckles would then become more of an anti-hero, a rival to Sonic, but ultimately good. But he has his own priorities in protecting the Master Emerald, which I said we saw. So Knuckles is coming in, and of course, the plot of that game is Sonic has beaten Robotnik. And what does he do? He crash lands on Knuckles' world, and he convinces Knuckles that Sonic is actually there to steal the Emerald, and he is a good guy who has been trying to stop the tyranny of Sonic. So one of the things is Knuckles has been guarding this Emerald in complete isolation, and so he's super gullible. So Robotnik has stolen it, has told him that Sonic is the one responsible, and that he's trying to fight off Sonic. So Knuckles goes on there, and I spent 4 years staring at that box, reading that manual, thinking about how cool video games could be. Because, like I said, I had DOS-based games. That's all I had during that period of time. Was on my dad's older computer, DOS-based on the big floppies. Not the regular floppy, on the big floppies. Games like Chip and Solitaire and stuff like that, So I was dreaming, I'd see all the commercials for Sonic, I'd watch the cartoons. Of course, Nintendo at the same. I was watching the cartoons for Nintendo properties, just dreaming about what it'd be like to play video games as I kind of envisioned them at that point. And so Knuckles is a character that, I read his bio in that Gaming Mix over and over and over again. I just thought he was so cool. And but then what happened is, after Sonic Adventure, we saw Sonic Adventure 2 introduce Shadow. And Shadow kind of filled in the role of that. But then after that, then we got Silver. And then we got, and Knuckles just keeps getting pushed further and further to the back, to the point where it's like, in Sonic Forces, they put him in charge, but he's not doing any of the fighting. If Sonic was gone, Knuckles could toe the line against Eggman. He is the power to Sonic's speed, the complete counter. So seeing Knuckles done proper, after he's been kind of being done dirty lately, and I love Boom Knuckles, the meme-worthiness of Boom Knuckles. He's fun as kind of the dumb meathead, but having true classic Knuckles come back, I'm so on board for this. Then it ends with the logo, which is the 2, has the tails at the bottom of it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So good. Okay, need to move on, but still on Sonic. The Sonic Frontiers trailer. This shows Sonic running, and he's running from a monster that reminds me of the Phantom Ruby effect. It's all particly. There's been rumors that it's something to do with the virtual world. We hear a voice. To me, it sounds like Colleen. It sounds like Tails. Sega has come out and said, no, it's Amy. But we'll get to that later. I have a theory about that. Now we hear, or now we look at this, we just kind of cut away from Sonic, and it's just the camera traveling through a big, open, empty world that looks like Breath of the Wild. And I say that in that, art design-wise, it's an open world. It's not as realistic as some games, but it's kind of at that Breath of the Wild level of realism, which is more than what Sonic traditionally is. That's why I said this kind of looks like Sonic 06. And when Sonic 06 came out, we came off the adventure games, and we were seeing Sonic in the real world, and it was okay, it's just that, but better detail, and I was all for that. It's what I wanted at that time. And of course, that game was not good. And since then, when stuff like Sonic Colors happened, and then we had my mind is just I need more sleep. Anyways, the Sonic game on the Wii U, not Rise of Lyric, but the Sonic Lost World. We started to see more cartoony worlds, and then most recently, we have Mario Odyssey, and Mario Odyssey is one of those games where it was like, no, you can have beautiful worlds, but they're cartoony. And one of the things that I like about like Mario Galaxy, now Mario Odyssey, is the graphics hold up a lot better when you keep it cartoony. The moment you try to make it realistic, in 5 years, it looks bad. The next generation comes out, completely obliterates what looked realistic, and that looks bad. But if you do like cel-shaded, cartoony, imaginative, wacky worlds, a lot of those Nintendo games hold up from like the GameCube era because they were that way. Some of the Dreamcast, like some of the games that were like cel-shaded and kind of like all wacky art styles, they still hold up because of that. Well, as other games graphically have not. So you kind of had like this give and take. Like I'm over that. I don't want that from Sonic anymore, and it looks like they're going back to that, and that concerns me. However, I do like that they're going. Maybe they're hearing all the fans saying they want a Sonic Adventure 3. That is kind of the adventure style, but it looked big, open, and barren, and boring. And I don't think that was a good way to show off this game. Compare that with what a lot of the fan games that are not a complete game, they're just a level or two, but they show an open world, and they are very much taking homage from like the classic, like Green Hill Zone, Labyrinth Zone, stuff from the Genesis. So I would have much rather seen that. Like you go by and there's this field of pretty flowers. It's beautiful, beautiful. It's not Sonic's world. It doesn't look right to me. Now we once again hear the voice, and it sounds like Amy this time. So what I think is Sega's being coy. I think all of Sonic's fans or friends have been trapped in and they're communicating with Sonic. So I think that voice at the beginning that everybody thought was Tails, I think that is Tails. And when Sega says, no, the voice you hear is Amy, I think this is Amy here at this point in the trailer, and they're trying to be coy and mislead us so that we don't reveal the plot. But that's just kind of my fan theory. And then you see the big, like, kind of monstrous thing coming out. Once again, give me very Breath of the Wild vibes. I see a lot of people comparing this to that, and like I don't think it's going to be gameplay-wise anything like Breath of the Wild, but I do see that they're taking hints from that game. Ian Flynn is doing the story. Ian Flynn is an amazing writer. Now, there is a group of Sonic fans who are just like, they hate Ian Flynn. They want to blame him for a bunch of stuff. They're mostly Ken Pender's defenders. I'm probably going to do a video on that at some point. But to me, Ian Flynn's writing in the comic is actually making you feel like there are stakes. Like his whole Zombot, robotic zombie apocalypse storyline he did in the IDW Sonic comic is like truly dark. Even though at the end of the thing it's all got to reset, the heroes have to find a cure and they're gonna save everybody. Like seeing characters lose loved ones and like the drama of that, like it was good, but it wasn't like previous Ken Pender's soap opera drama. It wasn't like, okay, let's not get too carried away because these are anamorphic animals, but it felt good. So him doing the story, there's been a big movement. I've been part of it. Give Ian Flynn the story. Pontac and Graf. I don't have a problem with like boom humor, but I'm going to admit that a big part of why I didn't like Roger Craig Smith at first in Sonic Colors was the writing. And going back recently, having replayed that game with Sonic Colors Ultimate, I still hold that like some of that stuff just really doesn't hit. It's really out of place and weird, and Sonic Forces was even. It was the point that it was meme-worthy. It was cringy. It's not supposed to be fun. That's why they call it war. Like Sonic Adventure was kind of edgy Sonic. And you had Shadow the Hedgehog, who was like an emo Sonic, But it was never that cringy. Big thing that I want from this game, though, is animated cutscenes. That's probably what made Forces so bad for me, is if they keep doing this thing where they go, instead of a cutscene, we have character heads with text boxes, and they're basically reading it. That like completely feels like one of the things that I think is truly missed from like Sonic Adventure, and previous games like that, was the fact that they had animated cutscenes, and so that's something that I'd like Sega to stop pulling on the budget. Now, Ian Flynn has come out and said that, yes, everybody's sending him how the story has been leaked, and he laughs at it because, while he can't say anything, that he will say that all the leaks are nothing close to the actual story. So that's good. If you think you've been spoiled, you haven't been spoiled about this game. So I'm worried about the actual gameplay, the world, all that kind of stuff, but I'm not worried about the story, and ultimately that has me excited about the game because it's going to add to the overall Sonic mythos. Now, the last portion of this, we're going to go to the other stuff that was in the Game Awards that wasn't Sonic. Okay. Quantum Dreams Star Wars Eclipse, set in the High Republic. Okay. First off, I asked people who were consuming all High Republic, who are these people? And they go, oh, none of that's in the High Republic. They're just saying it's set in that time period, but they're not like referencing any of the stuff or building upon any of the stuff from the comics or the books. So that's kind of confusing to me. Why put it in that time period, especially when it's a restricted time period where you can't have Sith? To do a game about Jedi without Sith, it's a really odd choice, the whole High Republic era. But the fact that they're not like making some of those characters that you're reading about in the book, like making them more impactful. If people played them in a game, they'd want to go play them or read books about them because they enjoyed a really great game. That said, maybe these are all going to be in the next wave of High Republic books. However, Quantum Dreams, like their style of games is one. Some people really love it. Some people really hate it. Some people feel like it's more like just watching a movie. It's not an actual playing a game. Other people just think that they're absolute masterpieces what they do. However, there's a huge controversy going on right now around some of the management there making some anti LGBTQ comments. Now, everybody's calling to cancel this. And I call out hypocrisy. Big hypocrisy, because these are the same people that were really pushing that we play what was that EA spin-off game that was kind of like a X-Wing pilot game, Squadron or something like that. I can't even remember. I can't even remember what the name of the game is, but I remember it was kind of like a high price for what felt more like DLC to the Battlefront games. And there was a big controversy. A lot of people in the fandom were upset because there was some LGBTQ stuff in that game. A character was one of the pilots, and everybody gets up in arms over that. And then other people were saying, go play it. Now, EA, as a company, has had their own scandals of being inappropriate to people. They also are notorious for microtransactioning and, basically stealing from kids, preying upon kids who don't fully understand the concept of gambling. And they're making billions from microtransactions on sports games, on games like that. Was their initial plan with Star Wars. We're like, nerds love Star Wars. We're just going to hit them with huge gambling microtransactions. It's not microtransactions like pay $5 and get a cool skin. No, that would be fine. That would be, everybody would pay for what they want. They would get continued support. If you're playing the game over years, you might put down another $5 later, $10 later, whatever. Even if they overprice that stuff, and we're saying like $20 to be Luke Skywalker, that wouldn't be so bad. They calculate out the random chance, and it's like something like, $2,000 by random chance to unlock Luke Skywalker. So, now they fixed that. They fixed that after Disney made them, after the huge backlash. That's the same model that they have in FIFA for unlocking like top tier players. It's predatory. And it's what the mobile games do, but like they're putting it into your standard games. And the other thing that they do is they've got the Star Wars license. One of the Knights of the Old Republic, the BioWare game, is like considered one of the greatest Star Wars games of all time. Long overdue for sequels. They get the Star Wars license. They own BioWare. They do nothing. Why? Because they've turned BioWare into a shell of the company it was. EA has a tendency to buy companies up, smaller companies with great IPs, and then run them into the ground, and then put the game library in the vault, and occasionally bring them out and give either a remake or a sorry excuse for that game. BioWare was one of the most unique companies in the gaming space, especially if you're into sci-fi, and now they're pretty much a nothing company. That's EA. Now, they're just one company I feel passionate about. EA has done this to dozens of companies. They do not treat their employees well. Lots of controversies. Nobody's canceling them. One person who's higher up at this Quantum Dreams has an opinion that is, not great, but it's his opinion, or he said some things. One, whether this is truly how they feel or this is just they caught him in an office. Like, I'm not going to deep dive into that. I'm not going to go into any of that. I don't really care about that drama. That's not my battle. That's not, but you look at the stuff going on in Activision, Ubisoft, like there's tons of this. Guess what? People are still buying Call of Duty. People are still like, well, why are these people, Activision Blizzard, why are people still buying all the Activision Blizzard games? Why? Because those are the big titles that they're, but Quantum Dreams is a company that has a very small game library. And so it's really easy to boycott them. So we're going to boycott them, but we're not going to boycott these other, because then we'd have to give up all our favorite games. That, to me, is very hollow. And it doesn't send a true message. It doesn't, and what is this going to happen? Like, the company deals with it by retiring that CEO or whatever he is with a giant, huge payoff. That's what's going to happen. It's just, I don't fault people for like having a stand. Like, I've taken a stand like with certain things but and cancel subscriptions or different things, or just not bought something because it just didn't feel like it. But it seems very odd that like this is the line that a whole bunch of fans are putting. Now, one of the reasons why I think that is the case is, once again, they're putting it in the High Republic era, which has been designed to cater to a lot of these groups. I want to say, I'll make that sound negative, but you have like two kind of rifts in the fandom, right? You have the side that likes The Last Jedi, the side that doesn't like The Last Jedi, the side that is so raw about everything that like the word inclusivity or diversity upsets them. And yet there was always inclusivity and diversity in Star Wars. There was that and that, but using those terms like just automatically, their hair stands up, they're all ready to pull out their pitchforks because they're upset. And then you have the other side of the fandom that is like, The Last Jedi was beautiful, all these other people are bigots, and anything that has diversity of that, we have to support 100%. It doesn't matter if it's good or it's bad. We just have to throw our support at it because we have to win this fight. Both ends of that spectrum are toxic. I'm sorry, it's true. Any side that's treating themselves like they're self-righteous because they're trying to kick the other side out, that like they're not. And so you have this group like the High Republic is using all the buzzwords that it is catered towards this side of the fandom, and in that respects, it's doing a good, like it's this section of Star Wars, and then they have other stuff coming out that I feel is more catered to this side of the fandom. Like The Mandalorian is very much kind of universally liked or something, but in a lot of ways I feel like it's something that this side of the fandom is clings to, because a lot of OT references, a lot of stuff like that. Some people never happy. They won't be happy until Disney gives it back to George Lucas, and then they won't be happy then. What are they thinking? They're at a point now where they're never going to be happy. Did they need to get to that point? No. I think things could have been done better by Disney. I think they could have done the sequel trilogy in a way that pleased more people. Not to say that you're wrong if you like it, but I think that they could have put out a movie that, if you'd never seen the sequel trilogy, and a movie that appealed to a more general audience, that you still would have liked it, and then these other people would have liked it too. There still would have been people that would have been naysayers. You're never going to put something out like Star Wars and not have that. But anyways, I'm going on a bunch about this. This trailer was a nothing. We're supposed to be... It is a CGI trailer with zero gameplay, zero reference to what the actual story is about. It's about a guy drumming, and then the black goo monster from Star Trek The Next Generation that pulled in Tasha Yar shows up. And then like, it's nothing. It's nothing. We have no game. All this controversy, watch the game get canceled because it's probably years away. Okay, moving on from that entire sidetrack rant. We have Star Trek Resurgence by ex-Telltale developers. This looked interesting. I think Star Trek is a perfect game for the Telltale experience. Because it's not a game that translates. I think like the two things that I think Star Trek works is like, it's kind of like the RTS space battle thing, and this, a very click-based, story-driven word tree. It's never going to be a good action game. It just doesn't work for that as a property. The Halo trailer looked beautiful. I don't like shooters. I'm not going to play shooters. I look at it and go, wow, I can't wait for red versus blue to use those models. Looked great. Then we had, tease for the Halo movie. Also, super excited about that, because the Halo movie, like I said, I don't like shooters. I really love the Halo universe, and I want it. or not movie, TV show. Like, I want Halo done in a format that's easy for me to consume, and that's what I'm looking forward. Next one that was of note, I'm not going to touch on every game here, but Monolith Soft is doing a Wonder Woman game, or Monolith, I should say. It looked interesting. I think that will be good. Another, now the kind of reimagined Telltale company announces a game based on The Expanse. That is a sci-fi thing that I want to get into, but I haven't gotten into yet. But that, once again, this is from the people who brought us Wolf Among Us and Batman Telltale games. Like, this is good. This is a good way to bring sci-fi properties that may not work as a straightforward thing into that. Cuphead Last Course DLC. Cuphead is just like, that is just a beautiful concept. It's getting, of course, a Netflix cartoon, but just like the old playing what's like, you know, old Betty Boop style cartoon. Like, that's just so cool. Something I spoke about on a previous one of the Microsoft things, I think, or PlayStation. Tiny Tina's Wonderland does kind of like the character breakdown. And once again, I just love the vibe of the marketing of this game. Of course, it's not my style game. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not saying it. But it's just kind of like the quirkiness of this and the way they're marketing. I think they're doing really good. Speaking of really good marketing, DokeV got a music video. And a lot of people who didn't catch the previous DokeV are watching this thing going, what in the world is this? This is basically taking the song that was playing in the background of the original trailer, and the girls are singing a concert, and or kids, because there's some boys in there too, and as they're doing it, like, their concept, all their cosmetics are constantly changing, showing you how much customization there's in the game. Now, once again, the company making this is known for having lots of cosmetic microtransactions, but they're showing that off in an epic concert presentation. This game is just so cute. Everybody's calling it the Pokemon Killer. It's more gameplay-wise like Monster Hunter, but it's set in Korea. It's just a beautiful game. And even though I got a newer computer, I know it's not top of the end. It won't be able to play this game. But I can't wait to come it out, because I'm going to watch people. I'm probably going to buy it, even though I won't have a way to play it, because I want it to support it in some way. I'm just hoping that it's not complete like microtransaction garbage. Then we got like a brief thing for the Dune Spice Wars. So, you know, we just had Starship Troopers game come out. We got a Stargate game. Now we're getting a Dune RTS. I am a huge RTS computer game nerd fan, and I love that they're putting all these sci-fi properties that I love into RTSs. Let's bring back the Star Wars one. Let's do that. Suicide Squad looked like more Suicide Squad. Didn't, you know. It's funny jokes, but yeah. Planet of Luna was last one I'm going to talk about here. Just a really cool art style. Just kind of like out of the blue, really pastel-y. Like, I just liked. This looks like it's going to be a great game, and it's beautiful. And I know pretty much nothing really about it, but this trailer just sold me. So that is the Game Awards. As for the actual awards, I don't know how they can do better. I don't really have a suggestion, but we just had, like, our Red 5 network did its award show. Sega Bits did their Sega Games of the Year awards. Different, you know, I'm seeing all these like different fan, like, YouTube things for, and I just feel more drawn to that. The Game Awards show, to me, feels like it is trying to be like all the big movie award shows, and trying to have pomp and that. And to me, that just doesn't work, because it goes kind of from like that formalness to then like GameStop loop video, kind of like false hype. Like it feels untrue, and which is said, I just really can't be made to care about it, and I really wish it would, but it just, for whatever reason, is. But you watch it, it's like people who don't like football that watch the Super Bowl and they're watching it for the commercials and the halftime show, and for chip and dip at a Super Bowl party. I'm watching this for the E3 like trailer reveals. I'm not caring about they're giving an award, I can get up and go to the bathroom. Like, that's not catching me. So with that, that's what I thought about the Game Awards. Was there anything in particular to you that blew you away? I know I focused heavily on the Sonic stuff. As a Sonic fan, like, that was going to happen. But there were a lot. I only touched on a fraction of the stuff here. But this was just kind of stuff that I felt was noteworthy enough to the thing. They had a couple of hours worth of trailers come out of this award show. So there was a lot. Let me know in the comment sections below, and I'll catch you in the next video.